Okay, so today we're going to look at domain and range. I know there was a video for you guys to watch in the Explore activities, but if you would like some more information and ideas on how to do Delta Math, domain and range, this is your video. Okay, first of all, we want to remember that the domain is found using the x-axis. And then we are going to use the y-axis for our range. So as we do these, I will help to color code and help to draw some pictures for you to visualize it. If you want, using colored pencils and graph paper to make your own notes would definitely help you out. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our domain, our first question. So notice that it says determine the domain of the following graph. Since the domain is on the x-axis, I'm going to look at all the possible values on my x-axis. So what that means is this line, this graph, the lowest number that could appear and the largest number that could appear. So our domain is everything on the inside. So this is all of the domain. So in order for us to write this, then we need to be able to notate what is the smallest number it can be on this side, and what is the largest number it can be on this side. Now, this open circle, that open circle means that it doesn't include the number where it starts or ends, I guess I should say. So that means even though this is at 10, it does not include 10. So when we have the 0 or the open, that means I'm going to use a parenthesis that's curved. Okay, that means negative 10 is not an answer, but everything after negative 10 is. So like negative 9.99999 is a valid value. Okay, then we look at where it ends. Well, it ends at 8 and we have a closed circle. So that closed circle means that it does include the number. And when it does include the number, we use a bracket. So 8 is going to be included. So this is actually our solution to the domain of this graph. The smallest number can be anything greater than negative 10, and our x value, or our domain, can be anything less than 8. So here is all you would have to type in. Okay, let's take a look at our second one. Okay, first thing I noticed, this one also has the circle that's open here, and it has the closed circle here. We have very similar answers this time. So again, to mark my domain is on my x-axis. So I notice that that's one side of my domain, and here is the other side of my domain. And my domain includes everything on the inside. So in other words, what are all the values that could work for our equation here? So my domain, I noticed that I had a circle. Since I have a circle that's open, I have to use a curved parentheses. Now notice that it stops at negative 10. Now, it does not include negative 10, but it has everything larger than negative 10. Then over here on the right side, I noticed it was a solid circle, so I'm going to use a bracket. And I noticed that it stops at 10. So the smallest value is anything greater than negative 10, so like negative 9.99999. The largest value is 10. So this is how I would type in the domain of this problem. Okay, now let's take a look at range. Now range, we have to look at our y-axis. Here's our y-axis, and we're going to look for the range. That means all the possible values within the y-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch my line. Notice that my line touches up here at 2. Even though the end of the equation is at 1, it does peak at 2. So that does get counted. That 2 does get counted. And same with the low number in our range. So even though our circle, our equation ends at -2, it does go as low as -4. So we do need to enclose those. Now, since -4 is included, that is considered a solid circle. And since 9 is included, it is also, no, not 9, I'm sorry, 2. Since 2 is included, it is a solid circle. So even though I have an open circle here, it does not include 11, but, not 11, sorry, 1. It does not include 1. This circle is meant for the 11. It is, but that's when we're talking about domain. Sorry, I got distracted. So yes, 2 is an answer for us. So since both 2 and -4 are an answer, I am going to use brackets on both sides. Now remember, we always put the smallest number first. Our smallest number is -4 because it drops all the way down here to the -4. And the largest number is 2. Because remember, we are looking for all the values within the range. And the range is everything in between the highest value and the lowest value on our y-axis. Okay, let's do one more and make sure I am a little bit more clear this time. So remember, the range is our y-axis. So here's our y-axis. What is the highest value on our y-axis? Notice it touches right here. And since it touches right here, even though it sinks back down to 3, my highest value is a 4. And so that makes it solid. And then my lowest value is here. And notice that it does sink down to -1. And since it does sink down and go back up, that does include -1 as an answer. So in order for me to find the range here, I'm going to look at all the values it could possibly be on the inside. What's the highest value it can be? What's the lowest value that it can be? And since both of these numbers are included in our answer, I am going to use the brackets again. Now we start with our lowest number, and our lowest number is -1. Our highest number is 4. So this is my solution. This is the range of this equation. These are all the y answers that could be in our solution. So go ahead and try a few on your own, and if you need to, come back here and watch the video again, or even ask me questions.